Watch till the end, because what started as a few affectionate photos on Instagram turned into a global storm that had everyone questioning Ed Sheeran's personal life. For the first time in years, old rumors resurfaced, and fans began wondering if the pop superstar had just confirmed something he once hinted at in the past. Was Ed Sheeran finally opening up about something he had quietly struggled with long ago? Social media was divided. Some thought this was his boldest revelation ever, while others claimed it was all a misunderstanding. But the truth behind those love-themed photos and what Ed said years ago about himself paints a much deeper, more human story. The photo that shook the internet. It all started when Ed Sheeran shared a series of intimate, love-filled photos on Instagram to celebrate 10 years of friendship with one of his closest mates. The pictures were warm, artistic, and full of genuine emotion, the kind of closeness that made fans stop scrolling. But in minutes, the internet flipped the story. People noticed the emotional caption, the smiling poses, and the soft lighting, and instantly began speculating. Comments like, "Is this his big reveal?" and "This post feels different," filled the section under his post. Within hours, screenshots spread across platforms, tabloids picked it up, and fan pages analyzed every frame. Many pointed to the affectionate energy of the photos and decided this wasn't just friendship. Others defended him, saying Ed has always been expressive and genuine. Still, curiosity grew, because for some, this post brought back memories of a time when Ed once admitted he thought he might be gay, and that's when the story truly began to spiral. The internet goes into meltdown. By the next morning, social media had lost control. A simple friendship post had turned into a trending storm. Twitter, TikTok, and gossip sites were flooded with theories. Fans claimed Ed had just made a major revelation, while others insisted people were reading too much into it. Within hours, old clips and quotes started resurfacing, especially one where Ed had said that when he was younger, he thought he might be gay for a bit because he was emotional and connected easily with people. He had laughed about it then, but now that old quote was being shared out of context. Soon, fans began stitching the interview with his new photos, creating a narrative Ed never meant to tell. A few loyal followers tried to calm the chaos, but the rumor had already caught fire. What started as a warm moment between friends was now a global guessing game, and everyone was waiting for Ed to break his silence. By the afternoon, hashtags were trending worldwide, and entertainment pages jumped in, turning speculation into headlines. Comment sections turned into debates, with fans defending him while others demanded clarity. For the first time in years, Ed's personal life was being dissected by millions, all because of a few heartfelt pictures that were never meant to be misunderstood. Ed Sheeran's old confession returns. As the internet kept spinning theories, an old interview clip from years ago suddenly resurfaced, and that's when everything exploded. In that interview, Ed Sheeran had opened up about his youth with surprising honesty. He had said that when he was younger, he thought he might be gay for a bit, not because of attraction, but because of how deeply emotional and gentle he was. He talked about growing up surrounded by women, loving pop music, caring about emotions, and never fitting into the tough guy mold that people expected. He even laughed about it, saying, "I've always had a feminine side. I just never saw it as a bad thing." It was a moment of genuine self-reflection, something fans loved him for at the time. But in the chaos of social media, that old quote was torn out of context and turned into a brand new narrative. Suddenly, people began treating his honest teenage reflection as a modern-day revelation. Clipped videos spread everywhere, and gossip pages attached sensational headlines that had nothing to do with what he actually meant. Some fans defended him fiercely, explaining that he was simply expressing how comfortable he is with who he is. But others took the comment and ran with it, mixing it with his recent photos to create a story that never existed. As the confusion spread, the line between truth and assumption disappeared. People who had never even watched the full interview started debating his words, building theories from fragments. It was a classic example of how quickly a genuine, heartfelt thought can turn into online chaos. And through it all, Ed stayed silent, watching as a single line from his past became the headline of his present. When emotion became confusion, what many missed was how true this moment was to Ed's character. He's always been the artist who feels everything deeply, who can turn heartbreak, loyalty, and love into timeless songs. So when he posted those love-themed photos, it wasn't out of character at all. It was simply another way to celebrate connection. But online, emotion often gets mistaken for mystery. People forget that friendship can look like love, that affection doesn't need to mean romance. As more theories surfaced, a few loyal fans stepped in to defend him, reminding everyone that Ed Sheeran has always been about authenticity, not attention. Still, the story had grown beyond control, and the world was waiting for his response. Behind the scenes, Ed reportedly stayed calm. Friends close to him said he was aware of the chatter, but chose to wait before saying anything publicly. He's been in the spotlight long enough to know that rushing to explain can sometimes make things worse, and this time, he wanted the truth to come out naturally, without anger, without drama, just clarity. Ed finally breaks his silence. After days of rumors and wild headlines, Ed Sheeran finally spoke up, calm, clear, and humble as always. He revealed that the man in the photos wasn't a secret partner, but one of his closest friends, someone who had supported him from the very beginning. The post, he said, was never about romance. It was a simple tribute to friendship that had lasted a decade. Ed reminded everyone that love isn't always romantic. Sometimes it's the bond that grows stronger with time. His tone was light, even playful, ending with a line that said, "Not every photo with love energy means what people think." That one sentence flipped the internet's mood instantly. Comments of confusion turned into messages of support and laughter. Fans praised his honesty and his calm way of addressing the chaos without turning it into drama. It was another classic Ed moment, showing that kindness and clarity speak louder than gossip ever could. The internet's second wave of reactions. Once Ed's statement dropped, the internet did a complete turnaround. People who had spent days debating his intentions were now praising him for the way he handled the storm. Fans flooded the post with heart emojis and comments like, "This is why we love you, Ed," and finally someone showing that friendship can be pure and powerful. Major entertainment pages started retracting their earlier posts, correcting their narratives. Clips from his clarification spread faster than the original rumors, proving that truth can go viral too. Some fans even admitted they had jumped to conclusions too quickly, saying they learned a lesson about judging people based on assumptions. But beyond the apologies and laughter, there was genuine admiration. Ed Sheeran had managed to transform a wave of gossip into a conversation about emotional expression and human connection. Instead of fighting the noise, he embraced it, letting his calm attitude become the message itself. By the end of the day, the same platforms that had turned his post into chaos were now calling it the most wholesome internet moment of the week. It was proof that in a digital world built on overreaction, authenticity still wins. Ed didn't just clear a rumor, he reminded everyone what it means to stay real no matter how loud the world gets. Friendship over labels. When the noise finally settled, something deeper emerged from the chaos. Ed Sheeran's post wasn't just a picture. It became a message about friendship in a world obsessed with labeling everything. He showed that two people can share love, loyalty, and connection without it needing an explanation. For years, Ed's music has celebrated all forms of love, romantic, platonic, and everything in between. So it made sense that even a simple post from him carried emotional power. Fans began sharing their own friendship photos, tagging Ed, saying he reminded them that closeness doesn't need to fit into society's boxes. In an industry built on headlines and drama, Ed's quiet reminder felt refreshing. He didn't preach or argue, he just lived his truth. And through that, he turned an internet misunderstanding into a global appreciation of genuine connection. What stood out most was how effortlessly he broke the stereotype that men can't show affection without being misunderstood. He proved that expressing love doesn't weaken masculinity. It strengthens humanity, and that single message reached far beyond the music world, inspiring fans to celebrate their own bonds without fear of judgment. Turning rumors into a lesson instead of reacting with frustration, Ed transformed the entire story into something meaningful. He didn't attack anyone or fuel arguments. He simply let his calmness do the talking. By addressing the situation with humor and heart, he reminded everyone that the truth doesn't need shouting, it just needs patience. The world expected a statement. Instead, they got wisdom. He showed how easily assumptions can replace facts online and how important it is to pause before judging someone's intentions. Even those who initially believed the rumors walked away with respect for how he handled it. Ed Sheeran didn't just silence gossip, he turned it into a conversation about empathy, friendship, and how love can exist in many forms. And once again, he proved that staying genuine in a world of speculation might just be the most powerful act of all. As fans revisited his old interviews, many said they finally understood what he meant about being emotionally open. He wasn't talking about labels, he was talking about being human. And that's exactly why this moment will be remembered, not as a controversy, but as one of the most relatable lessons from a global star. The truth behind the headlines. In the end, the internet learned a powerful lesson from the story that never needed to exist. Ed Sheeran didn't post for attention or to send a secret message. He simply celebrated love in its purest form, friendship. And somehow, that honesty became more misunderstood than any lyric he's ever written. Yet, instead of reacting with anger, he did what he always does. Stayed calm, kind, and authentic. He reminded millions that connection doesn't always need definition. That love isn't always romantic. That loyalty, laughter, and friendship deserve celebration too. The same post that started as a rumor ended as a revelation. Ed's silence turned into strength, his words into wisdom, and his actions into a reminder that truth doesn't shout, it simply stands. And maybe that's why people love him even more now, because at a time when the world rushes to judge, Ed Sheeran showed us something timeless, that being genuine will always outshine gossip. So next time you see two friends sharing a moment filled with love energy, remember this story. Sometimes it's not a confession, it's just connection. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that uncover the truth behind the headlines. And remember, in a world full of noise, authenticity still speaks the loudest.